you want to serve a recipe that's easy to make and gone in a flash, this one is for you. Hi, I'm Stacy and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to take a Southern party classic and add a little bit of Louisiana flair. So let's get into these ingredients. We have got a block of sharp cheddar cheese, ground breakfast sausage, baking mix, a little bit of milk, Worcestershire sauce, our house all-purpose Creole seasoning, and dried parsley. Along with those ingredients, let's talk about a few of my sausage ball favorites that are going to make your prep so much easier. Now, the first is this ground meat tool. It's usually used in cooking ground meat, but it's going to come in really handy when we mix our ingredients later. I've got my favorite 8-cup mixing bowl. We've got our cheese grater. The cheese is always going to taste better and you're going to get a much better melt if you grate your own cheese. So 30 seconds of pain is going to pay off big time in your recipe later. We've got a cookie scoop. This is going to help us scoop out our mix and form it into balls, making sure that they are the same size so that they cook evenly. If you don't like how that ground meat feels, you can always use kitchen prep gloves. Those are super handy. And when you're serving, you're going to need a few party picks so that you can get that sausage ball and grab a nibble. To make our Creole sausage balls, we're going to start with our ground sausage. Now, I find it's easier to mix this sausage if it is room temperature. It just seems to mix with the other ingredients a little better. And then we are going to add our shredded cheese. Now, this is when we're going to use this ground meat tool, and we're just going to blend our cheese and our sausage together first. It doesn't have to be totally mixed, but the more mixing we can do a little along the way, the easier the ingredients will come together. All right, now we're ready for our baking mix. You're going to want to make sure that you pick a baking mix that doesn't have sugar in it or a lot of sugar. If it has sugar in it, you're going to want it to be one of the last ingredients on the ingredient list. So look for a baking mix that's not strictly a pancake mix. If you want to double this recipe, our ratio is always going to be 2 to 1. So 1 cup of baking mix to 2 cups of cheese and 2 cups of ground sausage. So your 1 pound package of ground sausage is always going to be 2 cups, and an 8-ounce block of cheese is always going to grade to 2 cups. All right, so we're ready for some Worcestershire sauce and a little bit of milk. And we're going to go ahead and add our seasonings. We've got our house blend Creole seasoning here and some parsley. So this is where we're giving this recipe a little upgrade, just a little more flavor. I'm going to give it a few mixes with our ground meat tool, and then I'm going to put on my gloves and I'm going to have to get in there and mix it with my hands. One of the benefits of using the meat tool first is anytime you're working with a ground meat, the heat from your hands is going to break down the fat in that meat. And since we've mixed part of it with the tool and then the last half with our hands, not only is it easier, but we've also preserved the integrity of the meat. So when our mixture is at this consistency, we're ready to make our sausage balls. So we're going to use our scoop to scoop out a little bit of that sausage mixture. We'll give it a gentle roll and we're going to put it on a baking sheet that we've got lined with a silicone baking mat. Now these guys aren't going to spread at all, so you can place them pretty close to each other on the pan. And with this recipe and a 1-inch scoop, we're able to scoop out 64 sausage balls, which should be plenty for any get-together that you're having. And we're going to pop them in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 18 to 20 minutes. So our sausage balls have come out of the oven, and we have a pan over here lined with paper towels, and we're just going to let them sit for a few minutes. And I wish you could smell these. They smell so delicious. You can tell we've upgraded them with our little bit of Louisiana flair. So there's going to be a little bit of extra flavor and zing there. And you're even getting these crispy cheese parts that I love. I think those may be some of the best parts.
I don't know about you, but I absolutely love sausage balls. But I don't always have a party or a holiday to serve them at.
You know, I love these with a bowl of tomato soup. So creamy tomato basil soup and a green salad and a couple of sausage balls, a perfect combo. If you're having a quiche for supper with the green salad, sausage balls goes great with that. And of course, anytime you're gonna have a brunch, get these guys out. They're a great substitute instead of like a sausage, egg, cheese biscuit. You've got all those ingredients in this little snack. So go ahead and serve that for breakfast on the weekend or with a brunch. We're gonna garnish with a little parsley there. It adds a nice pop of color. You might have put a few on the tray. A few leaves on the tray too. We want it to be festive. You always eat with your eyes before you actually get it to your lips. So we want it to look as yummy as we possibly can. Right, we've got a little spoon because as your guests get your sausage balls, you're gonna want a little of that sauce on the side on their plate. All right, now your party ready. So if you like this old school party favorite with a little bit of Louisiana flair, then don't forget to click subscribe. Not just to the YouTube channel, but to southerndiscourse.com, where I'm always cooking up the Southern food that you know and love. From the kitchen to the table, I've got you covered.